Hi everyone, it's Dasher Dave here and I'm back for another crafty video. Today though, we're going to make some flowers. Okay, so when I first started getting back into crafting and when I was teaching, these are one of the things that I used to make a lot of. Paper flowers. I used to teach people to make paper flowers. So I'm going to teach you how to make the very easiest paper flower I know how to make. And the reason for that is I've been asked by a few people, what's the easiest paper flower to make? Could I make it? And I absolutely tell you now, every single person can make this. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to be making one. And sat next to me now is Brian. Say hello, Brian.
Hello, Brian.
So Brian is here and he is going to make one along with me. So apparently he's scared. And he'll be able, yeah, exactly. So he says don't judge him. So he'll be making one along and we'll see what the results are. So he's chosen his paper. I'm going to show you what you're going to need. So these are examples of what you can make. You can make them as small or big or whatever as you need. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. So what you're going to need is you are going to need some paper. Okay, so you're going to need a green one for the stem. If you want to make, if you wanted to make just an all white one or an all black one or an all brown one or whatever color you want to make, that's entirely up to you. But I'm going to show you how to make one that looks very similar to one of these. So, okay, so you can use much stronger, punchier colors. You can use pastels, whatever. Okay, so you're going to need a color, okay, and that's going to be for your flower part, and you're going to need a green, okay, and we're just going to put the rest away, and that's all you're going to need is 2 sheets of paper. In fact, you're not even going to use all of this. So first of all, we're going to start with the stem. So we're just going to put the piece of coloured paper away for the moment, and what you need to do is, first of all, you just need to rip this in half. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly half. See, no, it's not perfect, Brian, but there you go. Doesn't matter which piece you use. So, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have it so the shortest edge is towards you, yeah, and then you're going to turn it 45 degrees so you now have a point towards you. Yeah, okay, once you've done that, then you'll need to get either a pencil or a straw. You might want to use, you could actually use that as the stem, but like I'm going to use this straw to just roll around. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick up your corner. You might need to wet a finger to get it off the thing, and you're going to roll it round, and you're just going to keep rolling, and you're going to roll towards this corner here. Okay, keep going. Don't roll too tightly round whatever you're rolling, because you'll never get it out again. Okay, so if it's a pencil, you might just have to like lose lots of pencils. Okay, so once you've got to almost the corner, so it sticks out like a little triangular flag from the stem, you're going to just glue down that corner. You don't need to put any glue anywhere else. You're just going to glue down that corner. Okay, are you all right, Brian? Okay, so Brian's starting again. Okay, so, and now you just keep rolling, roll it until the corner then sticks down. Do you want to use this? Yes. Brian's going to use the straw that I've just used. So once you've rolled it, you can take whatever it is that you've rolled it around out, and you'll end up with this tube. Okay, so you can see it's a tube. Okay, a tube, and a tube. And then it'll have a little pointy bit at the end, top and bottom. Don't worry about those, it's absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side and let that dry, and that's now going to be its own little straw. You could actually make paper straws from that, but although not suggesting that you'd use that glue. Please don't use that glue. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your coloured paper. Are you there, Brian? Cool. Okay, so he's done that bit. So you can take your coloured paper and you're going to have it with the longest side facing towards you this time. Okay, and you're going to fold it in half first of all. Okay, so this has got like text on it, doesn't really matter. And then you're going to tear it in half on that crease that you've just made. Okay, so I'm just going to use a ruler to do mine. If you want to use a pair of scissors, you can use a pair of scissors, but trust me, you're not going to see that edge, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, so like I say, you've used half of the paper that you started out with. So for every sheet of paper, so you can use, you know, whatever size you want. The larger the paper, the larger the flower, and the smaller the paper, the smaller the flower. Okay, so we've got this long strip now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just going to fold it over. Okay, and you're just going to fold it long side to long side, and you're going to put a little crease in there. Don't go too mad with the crease. All you want to do is just be able to fold it over on itself. Okay, and now what you need to do is you need to pick it up and have the crease towards you, and you'll need a pair of scissors. And all you need to do now is you need to cut almost to the other side. You need to leave about ½ an inch to a centimetre. Don't leave too big a gap, and also don't leave too small a gap, otherwise it'll just all fall apart anyway, it'll rip. And then what you need to do is you now started to cut a comb in it. So the narrower you make these things, the narrower these will be. Okay, if you make them too narrow, what happens is when you cut to the end here, can you see here, sorry, my dirty gluey fingers, when you cut to the end here, you see how it slightly tears to one side, and that's just the way, the action of the scissors. So if you make them too fine, you end up losing them, so you'll get alopecia of your fronds. That sounds painful. And you just keep cutting, and you don't have to worry about them all being bob on accurate. You know, if some, see here, some of them are longer and shorter, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't have, they don't have to be exactly the same width, because let's face it, no flower is perfect. They are perfect in their imperfection, and you're just going to keep cutting down all the way across. Take your time. This is not a race. It's not who can get there quickest. It's literally if you get there before I do, then you know you're still got to wait for me, because I've got to show you what to do, unless you fast forward it, obviously. So just keep cutting. If you cut through it all the way through, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. We can rectify things like that. You'll just, you know, use two separate pieces rather than one long piece. So as you can see here, look, I'm not worried about whether it's perfectly regular. It's much better if you can do it in one action of scissors, actually. So you know, rather than cut, you just do one long cut. Just remember to keep everything you've done away from the blade now, otherwise you'll end up cutting that off. And you're just going to cut all the way down, and you're going to literally come right down to this other end. So these look really spectacular together in a planter, or you know, you could put it in some dry compost, and you know, it would look like, you know, plants, like flowers. You know, they look really great. Obviously they are a representation of hyacinth. They're not going to be perfectly accurate, but that's the beauty of paper flowers, is they are all different. So Brian is obviously finished because he's got his arms folded. I can see him out of my peripheral vision, but I'm showing you what to do, and so I'm not worried about that. Again, like I say, it's not a race. You might get hand ache from doing this. You could, of course, fold a few sheets together and cut them all at the same time, but the thicker it is, the harder it is to cut, so don't go too mad. Okay, and then down to the last bit. Okay, so now you've got this. So you'll have this little fringe. Remember, you're going to have the folded edge is the bit that we want to keep together. Okay, and we should have had all that time. We should have had the cut edge away from us. Okay, so now what you're going to do, otherwise you'll end up with just strips. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to unfold it. So you're going to just be careful. Don't try and rub your hand across it, because what you'll do is you'll just rip them all off. You're going to unfold it and flatten it down. Okay. Use the stem now. So put the stem long ways and use the stem to just bend those back on themselves so they don't have so much of a crease in them. And that way then the fronds will curl much nicer. So you're just using that just to bend it back on itself so you don't get that definite crease on it. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to flip it over so that the crease is now, the mountain of the crease is facing up. Okay, and you're going to put a bead of glue all the way down one edge. So remember, don't go too mad with this glue. Well, you won't be able to go too mad with my glue because I can't get it out. So you want a fine bead all the way down one edge, and then you are going to take this edge and fold it over onto this edge, but don't put a crease in it. Let it be nice and open. Brian's used some pattern paper, so the pattern paper is now on the inside. So sorry, I'm more problems putting this together than I should have done because I'm trying to do it too far away from myself. So as you've noticed here, mine is not completely lined up, and that really doesn't matter. It's not going to make any difference to the finished look of it. Okay, so as long as they're stuck down, like I say, don't press these down flat because you'll have just completely ruined the whole reason for like trying to press out that defined crease. Okay, so now we've got this like this. What we're going to do is we're going to pick this up. I think Brian's starting again because he's realised that he's got the pattern on the inside. I'd be interested to see what it looks like with the pattern on the inside as well. So, do you want the longer scissors? Sure. Okay, so now what we're going to do is he's put his glasses on. That'll help him. So now what we're going to do is we're going to again put a fine bead of glue all the way down one side of it. Okay, what we're going to do I'm just going to show you as a dry run before we do that. Okay, what you're going to do is you're then going to take this strip here, so this plain bit here is going to be the bit that wraps around the tube. So first of all, we're going to glue it so that it glues to this very tip, and you want it to glue at about a 15-degree angle. You don't want it to be straight, okay? Otherwise you'll just end up with a big curl at the top and it'll, it's great if you want it to look like a dandelion head, but if you want it to look like a hyacinth, you need to have it at about a 15-degree angle. And then you're going to roll it and curl it round as you go, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So I'm now going to get to that stage where we can. So I'm going to run a bead of glue down here. Again, remember, like I say, don't put too much glue. It just ends up causing more problems than it solves. I'm just going to run my finger. This is the reason why I've got gluey fingers all the time. And I'm going to glue this bit onto this edge here at about this 15-degree angle. I'm going to make sure that makes a nice contact first before I do anything else. And now I can start to roll it, okay? If you've got any loose bits, just give them a bit of a glue so that they stick down, and it just means that they're out of your way. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll it on itself. So you're going to helter-skelter your way all the way down, not all the way, but you keep going down. You don't want to be too spaced out, but equally you don't want it to just roll around on itself, okay? Keep rolling and turning, trying not to press any of this down in your hand, otherwise you'll flatten it all out. You're going to roll and turn, roll and turn. Might need to adjust it a little bit as you go. Keep it nice and taut so it wraps around that stem. It's not too baggy. And we're rolling around and around. And keep rolling. Rolling, 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 rolling. And then keep going all the way down until you run out of, you might, like I say, you might need to adjust it. Your glue might have dried like mine has. And you just keep rolling and turning, rolling and turning, rolling and turning all the way till you get down to the bottom. And then you hold that bit there so that it stays stuck. And you give it a bit of a wiggle until you know it's nice and secure, and now you can let go of it. You can spread these out however you like. So that's the basics of the flower. Then you can take another piece of paper. You don't want this much. You're going to go half this now, just to make some of the leaves. Like I say, you don't have to do this. This is an additional thing. And all we're going to do now is we're going to, using the long edge towards ourselves so that the leaves aren't too big. Okay, you're going to fold it over on itself, and again fold it over on itself. Okay, and now keep these edges together, so don't cut right from the bottom. Cut so you're holding it so that you've got all of the folded edges either side, and you're going to cut from about half an inch to a centimetre from the base, and you're going to cut up into like a point. You can put a bit of a roundedness into that if you like. A bit of roundedness, you know what I mean. A bit of shape. There you go. Just shapen that up. Just shape it up. Shapen that up. Yeah, I'll come up with my own words. You just come along for the ride. And then you're just going to unravel that. Okay, and then you're going to put a bit of glue along that bottom edge. You're doing all right, Brian? And then you're going to wrap this round the bottom, and instead of spiraling down this time, you're just going to wrap it around itself. So you're going to press and hold that on so that it glues itself first before you start rolling, and then you're just going to roll it round itself. You know, you can make your leaves whatever shape you want to make them. You know, it depends on whether you're making them to look like, because it you know, the yellow one can look like an ear of corn if you're doing a harvest festival, or you want to do something for autumn, fall, whatever you want to call it, whatever you call it in your part of in your neck of the woods. And just wrap that around the bottom of there. Just stick it down. Oops, or tear it off if that's what happens, and then that's what happens. Stick that at the bottom. Just roll it round. Make sure it all glues down nicely. Problem is I've got dirty fingers, so the bottom bit looks a bit dirty. And there you go. So that's it with the shorter thing. You can make it with the longer, more wavy leaves. You can make small, tiny ones. You can make them to look like ears of corn. You can put them all together in a nice vase, and they're pretty. They're just a nice, pretty thing. You could wrap them with a nice ribbon and give them to a friend. If somebody's on a diet, that might be something that you give them for their Easter present, because it's much nicer to receive something somebody's made than to receive something that you've just gone out and bought. So we're going to just do that one more time so you know what you're doing. So you need to make your stem. So we're just going to take a sheet of paper, fold it in half, and I'm just going to rip it this time without the aid of a safety net. because not worried about that edge. That edge is not a problem to us. And we're going to use that straw again with something else that just randomly stuck to my finger. We're going to take it, so remember, we're going to take it with the short edge towards us. We're going to turn it 45 degrees, and then we're going to roll this corner round it. And we're just going to keep rolling until we get to the other corner. And if we let go, it completely unravels. We'll roll it until it gets to the other corner. We'll try again. Oh, hang on. I've lost my straw, and then I won't be able to get it out again. It'll be in there forever. There you go. Keep whatever it is you're rolling round, like sticking out, so you can get it again. And then just glue that corner, that little flag down. Keep rolling until it's glued down. Just keep rolling it, and if you press and hold it, you end up squashing the tube. So just keep rolling it in your fingers, and it'll stick down. And now you can take this bit out. There you go, the straw out that you used. And there you go, that's your straw bit. Then we're going to move these out of the way. We're going to again fold this over, okay, and we're going to fold it down, not putting too much of a crease in it, and we're going to cut along this bit. Now this is a quick way to do it. You can then fold it again on itself, so you're folding so that you've got the open edges away from you and the crease towards you, and then you can fold it again over this way, left to right, and it just means that you can then be a bit quicker on cutting those fronds. If you want to get them perfect, then that's entirely up to you. But I would say that having them at different lengths does give it a bit more of a natural look. They're a bit more random. Again, like, different thicknesses. Don't go too thick, because if you've only got if you cut this into 3 fronds, then you're only going to have 3 petals on it. So, and again, like I say, if you go too narrow, you end up snipping them off. If one of them falls off, it's absolutely fine. Don't panic about it. Trust me, you won't see it on the finished result. Just going to keep going. And if you can see here, I'm not making this a full crease. I'm just keeping it nice and loose, just to make it easier for me to cut, so it doesn't take me so long to do. Look, they're not even straight, so it doesn't matter. And then once you get to the middle, you can just then open it out a bit, and you can make those into individual fronds. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so like I say, now we can open it back up again. Open it out. Make it nice and flat. Fold it back over itself using the straw. Just means that you're just folding out that crease better, and it makes it easier to bend the other way as well. That's why. The other reason why we do this. So these are all the little tips that I've developed as I've gone through making these hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Take that out, okay, and again flip it over, so you've got what was the mountain now facing up, and you're going to fold this over. Remember not to press it down, but just to glue it. So put a line of glue down this edge. It came out a bit quick on that end. Just going to smooth that out a bit, and then just fold it over so that it touches together, makes contact, eye to eye contact. edge to edge contact. Okay. Flip it over. Just this edge is dry, so that's the reason why I'm flipping it over. So that's it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it. And remember, we're not going to put it at 45 degrees to itself. We're going to have it at a slight 15-degree slant down. We're going to put, so rather than the glue drying out as you go, put a line of glue first, get that top edge glued in. So you, like I say, there's no point cutting it flat at the top. You're not going to actually see it, so it doesn't matter. You're just going to hold. Doesn't matter. I've obviously been. I've lived up here far too long. I've picked up the lingo. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I need to enunciate more. My mother will kill me. So, and like I say, just then keep rolling on itself, rolling on itself. Don't squeeze it, because you'll just squeeze the tube. And remember, the tube is thicker at this bit than it is at either end, because it's got more layers here than it has at either end. So squeezing it will just, you'll squash your tubes. And nobody wants squash tubes. So again, put another bit more glue and keep rolling. So if you can see here, hopefully you can see that I'm rolling, and it's kind of just having the gap between the overlap is about 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, you're just going to keep rolling, adjusting. If you want it to come down the stem a bit more, you want it more open at the top, then you adjust it. You can keep adjusting it. You can change it. Don't go too steep though, otherwise all the fronds will be spaced out too much. I mean, we're just loosely pinching as we go. You can see this. I know that it kind of looks like it's buckling here, but trust me, you're not going to see that. So once you've got to the bit where the glue's finished, then you can put a bit more glue down this bit until the end. And then we're going to keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Hopefully you can still see this. Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop till you get there. Don't stop believing. I've got to hold on to the sea. No, there's nothing like that, Dave. Don't hold on to the ceiling. Hold on to the feeling, maybe. So there you go, and just pinch it at the bottom. Don't press it, but like you're pinching it so that it sticks down, rolling it in your fingers. See how much tighter this one is. You can just open that up though. That's by brushing it down on itself. Don't be too overzealous with it, because you'll just rip it all. Okay, it is paper, you have to remember that, although they are quite resilient. So you're going to take what was left, this is half of the stem. We're going to cut that down. We're going to fold it down and cut it in half again, and we're going to make it much smaller. And then you can either have long fronds or you can have short ones. I'm going to go for a short one because that's quite a tight head on it. Fold it over, and just like if you were making a chain of people, you make sure you don't completely cut off either edge, otherwise they're all separate. So about 1 centimetre, 1/2 inch from the bottom, and then you're going to curl that round so you can make it a bit more interesting this time, Dave. Curl it round. Give it a bit of a wiggle, and then off to a point at the top. Okay, and then we can just unravel that. Okay, and then we're going to take this, we're going to put a bit of glue down this bit, and actually having that wobbly edge, that torn edge, just means it blends in a bit better. You just don't see it as much. And we're going to wrap it round, encourage it to go around this stem because these are straight and this is curved, and so it might just take a bit of encouragement. And as you curl it, some of them might want to bend down. Just encourage them to go curl up. If they rip, don't worry about it. You're not gonna see the rips in it. Just keep curling round itself. If it crinkles at the bottom, it doesn't matter. You're just going to encourage it all the way round. Then at the very bottom bit, that's when you can start to just spiral down the stem a little bit, just to cover up that base bit. Curl it round, curl it round. And if you'd spaced them out a bit better, Dave, then they wouldn't all be just in the same place. My glue had dried, that doesn't help. Okay, and then there you go, curl it round itself, hold it, trying to get your dirty fingers on it, Dave. Dirty Dave. And then you can like open up your leaves, bend them around a bit. And there you go, that is the simplest flower I can tell you how to make. There you go. So let's just clear this bit up and we can pull back in what we've made, and then we'll have a look at what Brian has made. Well, I've been making that. So I've made 2, Brian's made 2. So these are the 2 that I made. So it's this one and this one. Okay. Like I say, they look a little bit different, but isn't that what happens in nature? They look different. So that's those 2. These are the 2 that I made. Well, 3 that I made prior to this, and a little tiny one. The little tiny one is literally where we take half the paper, and for the stem we would make it in half, and we'd roll that, and we'd use half the paper, fold it over, and then fold it over again on itself to make a little bit. So you end up with something like this. And you cut it down, and then you're going to fold it back on itself. So just have to remember that if you're choosing a piece of paper where it's coloured on one side, whenever you're cutting it, cut it with when you cut it. So if this has got a pattern on this side, when you're making the fronds, fold the pattern inside, and then when you unfold it, you'll fold it so that they're on the so it's on the outside. So that's what I've made. So Brian has made a couple while we've been making that. So let's have a look what Brian's made. So these are the 2 that Brian made. So this was the one where he said, "Oh, I've done it the wrong way. It's going to be folded back on itself." And then this is the one where he rectified it. Okay, so this was using some of my digital paper, and look how fab they look. That makes them really interesting. And actually that happens in hyacinths. Hyacinth, you can get the ones that are kind of variegated, where it's got they're white and a colour, so you get that dual toning to it. And he's made exactly the same, but reversed. Don't they look great? Those digitals look fab, actually. So and so those together make a lovely look at that lovely little bunch. Wouldn't you be grateful to receive that? Aye. Actually, I might have them in the window, because I bought myself some daffodils the other day and they died before they had opened, so gutting. So there you go, give that a go. So another little thing. So like I say, you can make little ones, you can make even smaller than this, and you could then stick them down on the front of a journal, have a little grouping on the front of a journal. You know, you could make it out of, if you used like laminated card, not that I should be encouraging you to use anything that's plastic, but if you had some like some old laminated, I've done this at work, this is the reason why I know this, if you've got some old laminated signs that are kind of coloured on one side, then you can do the same thing with the lamination, and actually you end up with like much rounder things, because laminated card doesn't fold quite so easily, and it's a great way to use them up. It was a recycling project I did at work, because we're an environmental charity. So there you go, give those a go. Let me know how it goes, and I hope you enjoyed that. Something a bit different to what we normally do. I'll try and intersperse some other easy flowers in between other things as we go. So, thank you, Brian. They look fab. Do you want them back?
You can put them in your bar.
I will put them in my vase with my collection. So, thank you very much. I hope you've liked this. If you have liked it, give it a thumbs up. Really grateful for anybody that kind of interacts with the video. First of all, give it a thumbs up. Be free to comment or say something or just thanks or whatever. Share the video if you think it was useful, or just a bit creative. Get the kids to do this. I tell you now, this is the simplest one to do, and you could get while those kids are on their summer holidays or on their Easter break, you could get them making these. So something a bit different. And if you've liked it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to say something, share the love, and I will see you all in the next video, hopefully. So take care, folks. Love to you all. Remember, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care, folks. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of love, lots of hugs. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, Brian.
Take care. Bye.